John Miller stepped off the small transport ship and felt the strange, warm air of the planet Lyria on his face. He had been sent from Earth to help with a diplomatic mission, but the moment he arrived, he knew this world was different. The sky glowed with colors he had never seen before, a soft mix of purple and gold that stretched across the horizon. The ground beneath him was soft but firm, covered in small plants that seemed to shimmer in the light. It was beautiful, but he had no time to admire it. The city ahead of him was bustling with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some were tall and thin, with glowing eyes and long fingers, while others were short and round with skin that changed colors depending on their mood. John could feel their curious eyes on him as he walked toward the central square. Humans were rare here, and he knew they were watching him closely. He kept his head high and tried to look confident, even though inside he was nervous. As he moved through the streets, John heard a sudden shout. It came from the Royal Gardens, a large area filled with colorful flowers and strange, twisting trees. He turned and saw a group of armored figures running toward a young alien woman. She was tall and graceful, her long hair shining like silver in the sunlight. But something was wrong. The woman looked terrified, and the armored figures were moving quickly, surrounding her. Without thinking, John ran toward the commotion. He had no weapon, but he had always been quick on his feet and good at finding solutions in difficult situations. As he got closer, he saw the attackers were part of a rogue faction that had been causing trouble in the city for weeks. They were armed with strange energy weapons, and their movements were sharp and practiced. The princess, he realized, was in real danger. John saw a chance. One of the attackers was distracted, looking at him with surprise. Using that moment, he grabbed a fallen branch from the ground and swung it like a club. The branch connected with one of the attackers, knocking him off balance. The others turned toward John, but he kept moving. He ran and dodged, using his human speed and agility to stay just out of reach. The princess froze for a moment, unsure what to do, but when she saw John protect her, she realized she could trust him. He guided her toward a small path between the gardens and the palace walls. "Follow me," he shouted, keeping his eyes on the attackers. "I'll get you out of here." She nodded, and they ran together. John noticed how graceful she was despite the fear in her eyes. Her movements were fluid, almost like she was dancing, and she stayed close to him, trusting his direction completely. The attackers were closing in, and John knew he needed to think fast. He saw a small fountain ahead and an archway leading to a side street. He grabbed the princess's hand. "This way!" he shouted. They ran through the archway, and John swung the fountain's water at one of the attackers, creating a brief distraction. The aliens stumbled, giving them a few precious seconds to escape. They turned into the side street, and John could hear the shouts of the other attackers fading behind them. He looked around, trying to find a safe place to hide. The street was narrow, lined with tall buildings that seemed almost alive, their walls shifting slightly as if breathing. It was strange and beautiful, but right now it was just a maze. He knew the attackers might still be following, so he needed a plan. The princess looked at him, her eyes wide. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Name's John," he said, catching his breath. "I'm human from Earth. And you're in danger. We need to find somewhere safe." She nodded. "I am Kayla, the princess of this city. Thank you for helping me." John felt a strange mix of pride and responsibility. He had always wanted to help people, but this was bigger than anything he had imagined. "Let's keep moving," he said. He led her down another narrow alley, using the twists and turns to make it harder for anyone to follow. After a few minutes, they reached a small courtyard. It was quiet here, the noise of the city fading behind them. John allowed himself a brief moment to breathe. "We should be safe here for now," he said, "but we can't stay long. They'll be looking for you." Kayla looked at him with gratitude. "You saved my life," she said softly. "Why would a human risk so much for an alien?" John shrugged. I don't know. I just couldn't let them hurt you. He smiled, trying to sound casual, but inside he felt a strange warmth. He had never met anyone like Kayla. She was brave and strong, even in fear, and something about her made him want to protect her no matter what. They stayed in the courtyard for a while, catching their breath. John examined his surroundings, looking for ways to escape if the attackers returned. There was a small door leading into one of the buildings, partially hidden by vines. He checked it and found that it was unlocked. We can hide here for a while, he said. It's not much, but it's better than being out in the open. Kayla nodded and followed him inside. The room was simple but clean, with soft lighting and a few pieces of furniture. John felt a little relief. For the first time since the attack began, he could think clearly. He sat down and motioned for Kayla to do the same. Are you hurt? He asked. She shook her head. No, I was scared, but I'm okay. She paused, then added, but they will not stop easily. This is only the beginning. John frowned. He had suspected as much. This rogue faction was dangerous, and they had clearly targeted Kayla for a reason. Then we need a plan, he said. We can't just run forever. Kayla looked at him, her silver hair falling over her shoulders. You are brave, John. Most of my guards would not have acted like you did. John smiled, feeling a little embarrassed. I just react fast, that's all. But inside he felt proud. He had faced danger head-on and saved a life. That feeling was something he would never forget. Suddenly, they heard a sound outside. Footsteps. Quick, careful, and deliberate. John's heart raced. Stay here, he whispered. He moved to the door and peered outside. Two of the attackers were searching the area, their energy weapons glowing faintly. John knew they would come inside if they found the door unlocked. Thinking quickly, he grabbed a small table and pushed it against the door. It would not stop them for long, but it would give him time. He then looked around the room, trying to find something that could help. There was a shelf with some small containers. He grabbed one and threw it toward the door. The container exploded in a puff of smoke, and the attackers paused, coughing and trying to see through it. Now! John shouted. He grabbed Kayla's hand and pulled her through a hidden doorway in the back of the room. They ran down a narrow stairwell that led to the lower levels of the building. The air grew cooler and damp, and the sounds of the city above faded even more. As they ran, Kayla asked, Where are we going? Somewhere safe, John said. He did not know exactly where yet, but he had a plan. He knew the city well enough to navigate its lower levels, hidden passages, and secret paths. Trust me, he said. They moved through the twisting corridors, avoiding patrols and using small alcoves to hide when necessary. John was amazed at how fast Kayla adapted. She was scared, yes, but she followed his instructions perfectly. It was clear she had intelligence and courage beyond her years. Finally, they emerged in a hidden courtyard on the edge of the city. The sunlight was soft here, and the plants were taller, almost wild. John allowed himself to breathe again. We're safe here for now, he said. Kayla looked at him, her eyes full of gratitude and something more. You are extraordinary, John Miller, she said. You saved me when no one else could. John smiled, feeling a mix of pride and humility. I just did what I had to, he said. But we're not done yet. That faction will not give up easily. Kayla nodded. I know, but I trust you. If anyone can protect me, it is you. For the first time in his life, John felt that being human mattered. Not just his skills, but his courage, his quick thinking, and his heart. He realized that even in a world so different from his own, humanity could shine. And he knew that whatever came next, he would face it with everything he had. As the sun began to set over the city of Lyria, John and Kayla stood in the hidden courtyard, ready to face the dangers ahead. One human, one alien princess, together against forces that sought to destroy them. And in that moment, John felt a spark of something he had never known, the sense that he belonged here, and that his actions could change the fate of an entire world. John and Kayla stayed hidden in the courtyard long after the sun had set. The city of Lyria glowed faintly in the distance, lights flickering like fireflies. The quiet made John uneasy. He knew the rogue faction was still out there, planning, searching, and waiting. He had to think of a way to keep Kayla safe, not just for tonight, but for the days ahead. Kayla sat beside him on a low stone wall. Her silver hair shimmered in the dim light, and her eyes reflected a mixture of fear and trust. "John," she said softly, "why do you care so much? You barely know me." John looked at her and thought for a moment. He wanted to give her a simple answer, but it was not simple at all. "Because it's right," he said finally. "Because someone has to do what is right, and someone has to help. I don't like seeing people hurt, especially when I can stop it." Kayla studied him. She could see the honesty in his eyes. "Most humans would run away," she said. "They would leave me to die." John shook his head. "I can't do that. I can't just leave when I see someone in danger, not ever." For a moment, they both were silent, listening to the soft sounds of the city. Then Kayla spoke again. "My mother will want to see you," she said quietly. "She will want to thank you, but I think she will also want to keep you here." John frowned. "Keep me here? Why would she do that?" Kayla hesitated. "She knows what you are, John. Humans. You are brave, clever, strong in ways my people are not. My mother will want you to help protect our city. She may not let you go." John's stomach tightened. He had always been proud to be human, but he had never thought it could be seen as special. Yet he could understand her mother's thinking. Lyria was a beautiful city, but it was vulnerable. One human mind with courage and knowledge might make all the difference. Suddenly, they heard a noise from the street below the courtyard. John's body tensed. He moved closer to Kayla and peeked over the edge. Two figures moved carefully, their shapes dark against the light of the city. They carried weapons glowing faintly in the night. John recognized them immediately. They were part of the rogue faction. "We can't stay here," he whispered. "They will find us." Kayla nodded. "Then what do we do?" John thought fast. He remembered seeing a service tunnel nearby when he had explored part of the city earlier. It was small, hidden, and not often used. It could lead them safely to another part of the city. "We move through the tunnels," he said. "Follow me and stay close." They climbed down the stone wall carefully, moving quietly. The attackers below did not see them. John led Kayla through narrow streets and alleys, always careful to avoid open areas. He kept his mind alert, thinking about every possible danger. Kayla followed without question, trusting him completely. Finally, they reached a small metal door hidden behind a stack of crates. John pushed it open, revealing a narrow tunnel. The air smelled damp and earthy, but it was safe. "This way," he said, stepping inside first. Kayla followed him, and he closed the door quietly behind them. The tunnel was dark, but John knew it well enough to navigate. He had explored it earlier, studying the maps of the city. The walls were smooth, with faint lights set into the ceiling, casting a soft glow. The tunnel twisted and turned, leading them away from the streets where the attackers waited. As they walked, Kayla asked, "John, what is Earth like? Where you come from?" John smiled slightly. "It's different. The sky is blue and the sun is yellow. There are oceans, mountains, forests, and deserts. Humans live everywhere in cities and towns. We have machines and technology, just like here, but we use it differently. And we fight wars sometimes, but we also try to help each other." Kayla listened intently. "It sounds beautiful," she said. "I have never been anywhere outside this planet. I can only imagine." John nodded. It's not perfect. People make mistakes, sometimes big ones. But humans have a way of surviving, of coming together when it matters most. That's why I think we can help you here. They walked in silence for a while, the sound of their footsteps echoing softly in the tunnel. John's mind was busy, thinking of plans. The rogue faction would not stop. They wanted Kayla, and they had the weapons and numbers to try again. John knew that if he wanted to keep her safe, he would have to be smarter, faster, and braver than anything he had faced before. After some time, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. It was an old storage area, long abandoned. Dust covered the floor, and cobwebs hung in the corners, but it was hidden from the city above. John set Kayla down on a crate and looked around. "We can rest here for a bit," he said. "I need to think of the next move." Kayla looked at him. "John, you are not like anyone I have ever met. You risked your life for me, and now you risk it again to help me escape. Why do you care so much about someone you do not even know?" John leaned against the wall, thinking. "I guess it is because I believe in doing the right thing. And maybe I don't want anyone to suffer if I can stop it. That's how I am." Kayla nodded slowly. She could see the truth in his words. "Then I will trust you," she said, "because I believe you are human, and humans, you are special." John smiled faintly. He did not know if he deserved the praise, but he felt a new kind of determination. He would protect her, not just because it was the right thing to do, but because he had made a promise, even if only in his mind. Suddenly, there was a sound, a soft vibration in the tunnel. John froze. He listened carefully. There were more footsteps, and the sound of voices, low and harsh. The rogue faction had found another way into the tunnels. John grabbed Kayla's hand. "We have to move again," he whispered. "Stay close and don't make a sound." They ran through the twisting tunnels, moving faster than before. John led Kayla through passages that turned sharply, crawled under small openings, and climbed over debris. The attackers were following, but John's knowledge of the tunnels gave them an advantage. He could hear the frustration in the voices behind them. Finally, they reached a ladder leading up to a hidden exit near the palace gardens. John checked the area carefully before climbing. When he was sure it was safe, he helped Kayla up, and they emerged into the moonlight. The palace loomed above them, tall and magnificent, with soft lights glowing from the windows. Kayla looked around, awed by the view. "We are so close," she whispered. "But if we are seen, they will capture us." John nodded. "Then we need a distraction. Something to draw them away so we can get to safety." He looked around the garden and noticed a large ornamental fountain nearby. Water flowed gently, sparkling in the moonlight. John had an idea. He ran to the fountain and quickly pushed over a decorative statue into the water. The splash was loud and messy, drawing the attention of the guards searching nearby. Kayla took the chance to move quickly, and John followed her. They ran through the palace gardens, careful to stay hidden behind trees and sculptures. The rogue faction had been distracted, and John knew they had precious minutes to reach safety. Finally, they reached a small servant's door at the edge of the palace. John pushed it open, and they slipped inside. The room was dimly lit and empty, but it was safe. They closed the door behind them, breathing heavily. Kayla turned to John. "You are incredible," she said. "I do not know what I would have done without you." John shook his head. "You would have found a way," he said. "You are strong and brave, but I'm glad I was here." They stayed in the room for a while, catching their breath and planning their next move. John knew the rogue faction would not give up easily. They needed more than courage. They needed a plan, allies, and strategy. Kayla looked at him. "John, my mother will want to see you soon. You must meet her." John hesitated. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I just wanted to get you out of danger." Kayla smiled gently. You already did more than anyone could expect, but my mother will want to speak with you. She will want your help to protect this city. And I think she will decide if you can leave or stay." John swallowed hard. He had never imagined staying on another planet. He had always thought he would go home after completing his mission. But now, faced with the danger, the trust, and the courage of this alien princess, he felt something stirring inside him, a sense of purpose he had never known. As the moonlight filled the room, John realized that his life had changed forever. He had saved a princess, faced danger beyond anything he had imagined, and discovered that humans were capable of things even aliens could admire. And he knew that the days ahead would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. But he was ready. For the first time, John Miller understood that being human was more than just surviving. It was about courage, honor, and the choice to stand up when others could not. And he would stand no matter what dangers came next. John and Kayla spent the rest of the night in the hidden room near the palace. Outside, the city of Lyria was quiet, but John knew it was only a matter of time before the rogue faction struck again. He paced the room, thinking about their next steps. Kayla watched him, silent and thoughtful. She could see the determination in his eyes and felt a strange sense of trust. "We cannot hide forever," John said finally. "They will come back, and next time, they may be stronger. We need to know why they are after you and how to stop them." Kayla nodded. "I know. They are not just random criminals. They want to overthrow my mother's rule. They want to take me as a hostage to control the city. They are dangerous. And their numbers are growing." John thought for a moment. "Then we need information. If we know where they are and what they plan, we can act before they strike again. Do you have anyone who can help us?" Kayla hesitated. "My mother has trusted guards, but most are still recovering from the last attack. And some may not believe me about you. Humans are rare here, and not always trusted." John nodded. He understood. In a world that did not know humans, he would seem strange and unusual. But he also knew that his skills, his courage, and his quick thinking could give them an advantage. "Then we need to act carefully," he said. "We can't rush. We have to plan." The next morning, Kayla took John to a secret council chamber within the palace. The room was circular, with tall windows that let in the pale light of the early day. At the center stood a table, and around it were several tall figures in royal armor. Their eyes were sharp, and their expressions serious. "This is John Miller," Kayla said firmly. "He saved my life and knows how to protect me and this city. I trust him. You must listen." The guards looked at John with suspicion. One of them, a tall alien named Raven, stepped forward. "You are human," he said. "Why should we trust you? Humans are outsiders. You have no loyalty here." John met Raven's gaze without fear. "I saved the princess with my life," he said calmly. "I have no reason to betray you. If you want someone who can help, I am here. If not, I will leave. But she will still be in danger." The room fell silent. Kayla's eyes were fixed on John, silently urging the others to trust him. Finally, another guard, an older alien named Tyrus, spoke. "Very well," he said. "We will hear what you have to say. But understand, human, one mistake, and you will answer for it." John nodded. "I understand. First, we need to know about the faction, where they are hiding, how many there are, and what their plan is. Do you have maps or records?" Tyrus handed John a set of maps and notes. The information was detailed, showing the city, secret tunnels, and areas that were most vulnerable. John studied the maps carefully. He could see that the rogue faction had several hidden bases and had already attacked in places that seemed random but were actually strategically chosen. "They are organized," John said quietly. "They are not acting randomly. They are planning something bigger. maybe to take the palace directly. If they succeed, they will control the city and the people. Kayla's face was pale. We cannot let that happen, she said. But how do we stop them? My mother will be furious if I tell her about a human helping plan the defense. John smiled slightly. We don't tell anyone yet. We act first. We need to prepare the city, strengthen defenses, and find the leaders of the faction. Then when they move, we can be ready. For the next few days, John and Kayla worked together. They moved through the city quietly, inspecting weak points in the walls, checking gates, and watching the streets. John taught Kayla's guards some simple human tactics, ways to ambush, signal each other, and defend key areas. The aliens were skeptical at first, but they quickly realized John's methods were clever and effective. One evening, John and Kayla were walking along the top of the palace walls. The city stretched below them, calm and peaceful in the moonlight. John, Kayla said, why do you risk so much for me? Even when it is dangerous, even when others might not trust you. John looked at her, his eyes serious. Because it is right, and because I cannot stand by when someone is in danger. You trust me, and I trust you. Together we can protect this city. Kayla nodded. I trust you more than anyone. You are not just human. You are extraordinary. John smiled faintly, but his mind was already moving. He knew the rogue faction was growing bolder. He had learned that they had spies even inside the city. One wrong move could endanger Kayla and the people. We have to be careful, he said. They are smart, but they are not smarter than us. Not if we plan well. The next day, John discovered something important. While exploring one of the hidden tunnels near the city gates, he found a small group of faction members meeting quietly. He watched from the shadows, noting their numbers, positions, and the weapons they carried. They spoke in a language he didn't understand fully, but he could see their intentions. They were planning a large attack on the palace in a few days. John returned to Kayla and Tyrus with the information. They are planning something big, he said. We have a few days to prepare. We need to alert the palace, strengthen the walls, and be ready for them. Kayla's eyes widened. We can do it, she said. With your help, John, we can protect the city. My people will fight if they have a chance. John nodded. We must also be ready to fight ourselves. I will train some of your best warriors. They will learn simple human strategies that will give them an edge. Over the next 2 days, John trained the guards. He taught them how to defend key positions, how to use simple traps to slow the enemy, and how to communicate quietly in battle. The guards were skeptical at first, but slowly they began to see the value in his methods. Kayla watched with pride, amazed at how quickly the humans' strategies were working. Meanwhile, John and Kayla worked on a plan to protect the princess herself. They moved her through hidden passages, keeping her safe while still allowing her to see the city she ruled. Kayla learned to trust John completely, following his instructions without hesitation. Late one night, John and Kayla were checking the outer walls when they saw movement below. Shadows shifted, and figures moved silently toward the gates. John crouched and observed. They are testing the defenses, he whispered. The rogue faction is probing, seeing what we have done. Kayla's face was tense. What do we do? We stay calm, John said. We let them see we are ready. Then when they strike, we will be ready. They cannot surprise us again. The night passed without a major attack, but John knew it was only the beginning. The faction was clever, and their ambition was dangerous. He spent hours studying the maps, learning the city's weaknesses, and planning contingencies. Every alley, gate, and tunnel became part of a strategy to protect Kayla and the citizens. Kayla stayed by his side, learning and assisting. John, she said one evening, I never knew a human could think like this. You are brave, clever, and wise. I am glad you are here. John smiled faintly. I just do what I can. That is all. But inside he felt a strange pride. He had come from Earth, a human among aliens, and now his ideas, courage, and determination were making a real difference. He was saving lives and changing the fate of a city. And he realized something important. Being human was not just about where he came from. It was about what he chose to do, about courage, honor, and action. The next morning, John and Kayla prepared for the incoming attack. They stationed guards along the walls, set traps in key locations, and made sure every passageway was covered. John checked every detail, ensuring that nothing was left to chance. Kayla stood beside him, her silver hair glinting in the early sunlight. "John, are we ready?" she asked. John nodded. "As ready as we can be. The rogue faction will come, but they will not win, not if we are smart and brave." Kayla smiled faintly. "Then let them come. We will protect this city together." John looked out over the walls, toward the distant horizon. He knew the coming battle would test them, but he also knew something else. Humans were strong, clever, and capable of extraordinary things, and he, John Miller, would prove it.